Good afternoon, everyone. How are you guys doing? What's going on? Welcome to episode 20 of Merchants of Novigrad, a bi-weekly podcast where we discuss everything Gwent. Today with me, my partner in crime and my brother in arms, Hesser Tavern. And as you guys can see, we have a very unique guest, the creator of The Good Boy, The Best Girl, and the infamous Gigni, the incredibly talented Anna Podedworna. How are you guys doing? What's going on?
Oh, we are great. We are great. How are you, Anna?
I'm fine.
Before we get into it, a couple of words for our viewers. Guys, if you have any questions, you can ask them in chat. My dear friend Hesser, as usual, has been asked to collect the more interesting ones, and we're going to try to answer them as we go. Also, if you want to stay in touch off stream, you can follow us on Twitter at Novigrad Podcast. And if YouTube or Spotify are the places where you would rather watch or listen to this episode, it's going to be uploaded onto these and a couple more platforms, either tonight or tomorrow morning. And with that being said, I think we can move to the first segment of our show, which is what have you been up to? And as usual, we have to start with the COVID situation. So Anna, in a recent interview, you said that the lockdown has had a fairly positive influence on your work. Can you elaborate on that?
Sadly enough, it had. I am able to do so much more work when I am home. Like, nobody's talking to me. Like, total silence can just sink in my work for many hours. And the fact that I am a night owl is definitely a factor. Finally, I can work like during the night, not in the morning.
I can relate. I used to be like that as well. At least I thought so.
Wait, you're like one of those people who magically managed to get on a normal people sleeping schedule?
Yeah, I actually did, and you wouldn't believe what helped me. I went to hike in the mountains for 2 weeks. No internet, no TV, no radio, no media of any kind, just the nature, and it fixed it. I came back and I just started to sleep at night. Who would have thought?
Too radical, unacceptable.
I mean, the only nature you have in Warsaw is probably some kind of park, so it's not gonna work.
No, really not.
But speaking of home offices and working from home, Hesser, how jealous are you of Anna's home office? And I think we can even show it on the stream, because it's a major talking point of this podcast, guys.
Oh yeah, it is. I hope we
look at that.
Holy
smokes!
I'm glad you like it.
Oh, we love it.
I like it.
I was wondering where did you get is it the Lord of the Rings sword?
Yeah.
and a seemingly Viking-looking helmet.
It's actually Germanic, but close.
Close enough. I'm gonna take it. Where did you get it?
The internet.
Oh no! Somebody's shopping on the internet. Who'd have thought?
I know, right? No, it's the sword is like from a company called United Cutlery or something like that, and just they make replicas. And the helmet actually bought when I was still working on Gwent. And me and a bunch of Gwent artists found a guy making armory in UK, and the shipping was affordable. So we just bought a bunch of stuff. And we shipped it to the company. And I can tell you that our producer was not happy that suddenly there are swords and Morgensterns and spears in the studio.
Yeah, I can imagine he showed up at the office and he was like, they are up to something.
I mean, it was a lady, and I love her. Now I work with her in the Flying Wild Hog studio, but she's like a very mother-like. She was like, oh no, the children will kill themselves or each other.
Some Game of Thrones action at the office.
Not yet, but one more crunch and who knows.
A little bit more of the lockdown and you're gonna get there.
Exactly.
Speaking of the lockdown, Hesser, how difficult was it to get into the city of Novigrad a couple of weeks ago?
Oh yeah, for those who don't know, I was actually in Croatia. I managed to get out of the country. I really wanted to get out of the country, regardless of all of the lockdowns and the other stuff going around. And it was actually pretty easy. I was the only person probably taking pictures with the name of the city with that sign. So, but I thought that this is going to be like a empty, I don't know, some sort of a village with nothing going on. But it was actually pretty nice. A lot of like surfers, people enjoying the beach and enjoying the architecture of the small village in Croatia. So amazing place. If you want to go there, there are actually a couple of Novigrads in Croatia. So if you want to go there, definitely recommend it. You're not going to find Passiflora there, but I can assure you that there is a lot of good stuff going on.
So you can actually do a Novigrad tour and visit all the Novigrads in Croatia.
Yeah, exactly. Now this is going to take a while, I think. But
they should totally capitalize on the Witcher fandom.
They should. They are already earning some money on the on Dubrovnik, right? Because Dubrovnik is the place where they were recording Game of Thrones.
Yeah.
Right.
Yep.
So I think Novigrad is just another step. I think they should take it.
Yeah, definitely. And that tweet kinda got a lot of track on Twitter. And speaking of Twitter, I was scouring your feed, Anna, not too long ago, and I saw a pet snake, a pet python.
Oh, yeah.
What on earth? What is the story behind that pet? And do you have any other exotic pets as well?
No, unless you count my dog as an exotic. Crazy, so I would. So basically the story is I for years now I had at least 2 pets. There is a dog and kind of a secondary support pet to that. And last year, unfortunately, my bunny died, so I wanted a new pet. But I am fucking done with cleaning animal hair from my apartment. So I had one requirement, something that doesn't shed hair. And that it was kind of a short jump to snakes. No hair, perfect. And it's awesome. Like, would recommend. Snakes are so cute.
Isn't your dog like one of the smaller breeds?
It's small but very fluffy, and it's like a mixed breed. So I have no idea what breed.
Yeah, the question I wanted to ask is, isn't your python culinary interested in your dog?
I mean, it's a baby python, so no chance in hell. And it will never be big enough to actually harm the dog. So I picked like a reasonably sized snake. I've seen enough videos on YouTube of people getting bit by like huge red-related pythons in the face. So no, thank you.
I just imagine the guy at the store that you just show up and I want a snake, and it has to be small enough not to eat my dog.
Actually, my snake came from Czech Republic.
All right.
Because I wanted a specific color of snake, and that's where they got them like just perfect.
I didn't expect anything else from an artist. Speaking of art, and there's something we want to ask about quite extensively, and that's the next segment of this podcast, which is your background. So, in a recent interview with BJ, aka Baby Joseph, you said that you studied architecture/engineering, among other things, that is. How did it influence your work?
In a way it did, and in a way it didn't, because okay, so maybe chronologically. So to get to the architecture school, at least at the time, you need to pass like a drawing exam. So the courses preparing for the drawing exams were like really cool because it's like competitive drawing on time. So it was like, love it, sign me on. But they kind of gave you the wrong impression of what actually later the work in architecture will be. So not so much drawing, more like arranging toilets. And so I got some like drawing training from that time, but I guess not much more. I guess some knowledge of historical buildings is kind of useful. But yeah, to be honest, like most of the stuff that I'm actually now using in my field, I just learned doing like freelance commissions on DeviantArt. Oh, that's fun.
I can't get it out of my head. When you said it's mostly arranging toilets, I was like, just imagine a Gwen aficionado showing around this place, and like, so this corner right here was personally designed by Anna Podedworna.
Like, you're laughing, but I actually did some work in the field, and especially when you're starting, like the tasks you get is like, oh, okay, so here's like this huge multi-story building. Design the parking lot, and it's like 2 weeks of just like arranging squares, just like.
Yeah, I think a lot of people get into architecture because they imagine being the next Mies or any other renowned architect, and then they do all these small stuff like designing row houses and parking lots.
Yeah. I mean, it's a fine job if you cannot know what you're signing up for. To be fair, I didn't do enough research when I was speaking college, so fuck up on my part, and then I paid for it by just switching fields.
Yeah, but yeah, well then that more specific, right? So did you have like any specific historical or modern style that inspired you with your Gwent artwork, for example? Like, you know, judging from your background from architecture?
To be honest, like not really, because when we were developing what we want on Gwent cards, the style is kind of like a mixtures of what the pre-existing style of Witcher 3 is, plus kind of what the artists already working on the project are able to create, plus of kind of the requirements every card art for any card game kind of has to meet. So like strong silhouettes, kind of action oriented, like strong colors and stuff. So since like there are already so many requirements coming in, there's no much place to go. Like, but I want my cards to look like Caravaggio. It's like, okay, you already know what you have to do.
Yeah.
I love that you mentioned Caravaggio specifically, because there is actually a card. You can Google it. It's called Van Morleham's Servant. And it really, like the first time I saw the card, it really reminded me of Caravaggio.
But that's the thing, like every once in a while you can make art like this, but can you imagine like the whole game just looking like that?
No.
Just like strict style of like some historical artists.
Though a Baroque version of Passiflora would be interesting.
Yeah, like for sure you can like play with the convention, but you cannot lock yourself into like too tight art style.
Exactly. You said about how you started, right? Designing parking lots and then switching the fields. And I was wondering, how did your adventure with digital art and card games actually start? And is it something you envisioned doing during your studies? Like, did you have that in mind when you were studying architecture, that you might become a digital artist one day?
Nope. I had like zero fucking plan. Most of the actually cool job opportunities I ever got was a total just like what happened. Somebody like happened to need something at the moment, and I was just like right next to the opportunity. But no, it kind of I kind of randomly smashed into doing video games. So yeah, as I said, like when I was studying to be an architect. I was doing just like freelance illustrations online to just support myself. Kind of by accident, I built up a half decent portfolio. It just so happened a friend told me that CD Projekt was looking for like a junior artist, and I was like, "Ooh, I'm a junior. I can do that." So I applied. I got the job, and then I was just kind of just like bumping from project to project, and I still do that, I guess.
It really reminds me of that time when Buja was on the show and we asked him like a very similar question. How did you start? And he was like, I wrote an angry post on the CD Projekt RED forums, and then I saw a job opening and I was like, fuck, I'm community. I'm gonna be manager.
All the stars align.
It's kind of crazy, like how random it is.
Yeah, and then exactly you're ending up in the end with the huge companies, publishers such as Wizards of the Coast, Valve, right, CDPR. And how does it exactly feel to work for these companies? What's the the culture of these companies? How do they work with them?
I mean, I guess at the beginning you are a bit like starstruck, like, oh, like the guys who made like this game, and I'm like, oh my god, such a fun. But this like passes really fast, and you go back to like a normal day-to-day life of just like list of tasks. This needs, this shit needs to be done. This not that, and I guess it feels normal. As for the kind of their those companies' culture, it really depends because I work in studio only in CD Projekt and in Flying Wild Hog. So like working in studio and doing like freelance or contract work is like totally different because on contract you just have like one contact in the company, like the art director or producer, and you're just communicating with them. And if they are like a nice, cool person with like 90% of the time, like they are, that's your experience. It's just like writing emails and occasional calls. And and as for working in studio, both CD Projekt and Flying Wild Hog are like super nice companies with like good management. It's pleasant work environment. Like, would recommend.
We'll do it again. 10 out of 10. And CDPR is well known for their relaxed atmosphere at the workplace. So, on a personal level, how would you compare, CD Projekt RED to your current employer or Valve or Wizard of the Coast when it comes to just, like overall working experience as an artist?
I would say, like, first of all, comparing game developers in Warsaw is kind of cheating because this is like a same pool of people just circling around the companies. So I literally work with the same people before. So I would say like most of the bigger developers in Warsaw have kind of similar working environment. Because again, it's just the same people. It's a cool working environment. It is very relaxed and kind of down to earth. I never met with like a lot of like superstar mentalities. Just like normal people doing work, trying to do it well. Just like and I got lost. What
I got lost in thought.
I got lost in thought. What was the second part of the question?
No, that was basically it. Yeah. So just the comparison of the company.
But there's a follow-up that we need to do here. Did you have the chance to also, chat or work with people who are not involved in Gwent art when at CDPR? For example, with community managers or people who are designing card abilities or working on the UI, stuff like that. Did you also have the chance to work with them?
Yeah, for sure. I mean, like the Gwen team was not that huge, so like everybody knew each other and worked together. We were just basically sitting in 2 rooms, so it's hard not to. I guess it was always encouraged to kind of pick to what other teams are doing, and not to separate yourself. So, for example, it was always like nice to kind of give heads up to guys who will be doing the premium cards. What's your card is going to be about, so they can like prepare sound effects, maybe already start thinking about animation, and of course with the designers. I mean, I guess at the beginning we were trying to synchronize the card art and the design. That kind of fell through because the design kept changing, and you end up with like weird cards. For example, I did Vran Warrior, the lizard randomly standing on the mountain peak, and on the mountain peak because he was supposed to be immune to frost, and that was what the card was supposed to depict. But like that disability is like long fucking gone, and now you just have weird card. Like why? Why a lizard on the mountain? At a certain point, we learned to find a good balance of synchronizing work between teams and keeping things that should be separate.
One of the reasons I ask is I need to get a confirmation on something. So Pavel Buja often says he makes great coffee, and I need to have that confirmed.
I mean, I don't know. There always was coffee machines, so everybody makes great coffee from a coffee machine.
All right, Buja line confirmed.
Yeah.
Okay.
Burn.
We're gonna talk to him about that.
Absolutely. Moving on.
He has like some hipster utensil to make his own coffee. I never saw that.
All right. So it's still among the legends. All right. Yeah. But speaking of your experience with the other teams as well, like, did you have any interest in the Witcher universe prior to that? Because, you know, for example, in my case, I would read the books when I was a child. You know, in Poland, there was a chance to read the books in original in Polish, right? What about you? Did you have any interest in that universe?
Yeah, I did. I mean, I guess Witcher has been a big deal in Poland for a long time. It's kind of our Lord of the Rings, let's say.
Yeah.
But funny enough, my first exposure to the Witcher universe was the shitty TV series. So that was the first thing I saw Witcher related, and to put it nicely, I was put off. Like few years later, I realized that, oh no, those are books, so I'll just read the books, and the saga was amazing. Then the game started coming out, and it was just kept getting better and better.
I mean, let's be honest, in many aspects, the first Witcher, the game, kind of resembled the TV show. though the soundtrack was amazing. I actually decided to torture myself and watch the series. And it wasn't that bad. Like, of course, there's a lot of things in there where I thought, I think they were tight on budget. But the soundtrack was amazing, and it really felt very witchery, and I had the same feeling, playing the games as well. But to continue the topic of you working at CDPR, were you solely focused on art, or were you also involved in other parts of Gwent or maybe Thronebreaker?
I was focused on art, but CDPR has like a nice culture that if you want to get interested or give somebody from other departments some feedback, it's welcome. So it was always possible to just go to designers with like requests, or like, please more dryads, please, more animals. And I guess another way, kind of funny, that was involved in, I got to record some like noises and voices for Gwent. So some of the noises we recorded internally, so like grumbling people, like weird like monster, just noises, just so that was a fine day in studio. Just screaming into the mic, like total nonsense.
I have to ask, who's your inner monster? Which monster did you record?
I have no idea what the hell I was recording. Just anyway, it would be heavily edited, but whatever a monster sounds like, it's like drowning in pudding.
I think isn't that which monster is drowning in pudding?
I don't know.
That's the question for chat.
They send us later some of like the edited samples, but I have no idea what was implemented in the game actually.
Damn, I really don't know which one could that be.
We'll have to circle back to that question at some point.
Yeah. We have to remember about that.
I'm sure it's unrecognizable.
Drowner is the obvious assumption, Ellie's saying in chat. Yeah, that's possible. Drowner.
Moving on.
All right. Yeah. So obviously CDPR is a huge company. Everybody knows this company, and having this sort of experience in resume is awesome. So can you tell us how working with CDPR affected your career with other studios and your job in general?
For sure, it has like a super positive effect because it's a very recognizable studio. And in general, just having on your resume a work experience that you stayed with the company for like 4 or 5 years is just good, because it kind of lets other companies know that you are not at all psycho, and you can just like stay in place for a few years. And it allowed me to build an okay portfolio. So I would say
okay portfolio. All right.
All artists are critical. But for sure, like most of my other work, I got thanks to people just finding my Gwent cars on ArtStation. So thank you to the project.
All right, awesome.
We've been beating around the bush for a while now, just talking about your experience at the TPR, and your personal stories. But we have to get into it. We have to get into the actual Gwent department. So, Anna, can you tell us what is your MO? What's your modus operandi? And can you walk us through the process of actually making art for Gwent?
Sure. I guess at some point, like the process of creating cards for Gwent for me was pretty streamlined, because you make this many. Just I got lost again. So basically, we start with sketches, usually 3. So the art director can pick their favorite, or like the most suiting sketch. I usually try to kind of make the sketches varied. So no matter what the character was, to like find a more dynamic composition, find more like a cute slice of life composition, something in between. So there was always a bit of variety. When the sketch was picked, I usually moved on to working kind of in grayscale, because I like to split the working on values and working on colors into 2 separate stages. Because my brain just gets confused when there is too much kind of things to get control of at the beginning. And yeah, and depending on kind of the card, if it was one of the already pre-existing characters, I could pull some models from like the Witcher 3 engine, so that made the work easier. Sometimes the character need to be separately designed, especially when it was like a monster, so like Phoenix or like the Glassy Warp, you kind of needed to do additional bunch of drawings to just kind of sell the idea of what the creature is supposed to be. If it was kind of generic looking like mage or maybe warrior, you didn't need to create any additional concept work. Basically, then I would kind of try to render in as precise detail as possible, still working in the grayscale, and then I would apply the color. So like the local color, then the light color, the shadow color, and then make like a final pass for any additional details that might get destroyed while applying the color. And usually it would take like around 5 days. And in the meantime, usually we would get at least one art review during the week. So some additional input from the art team and the art director to maybe fix all the potential fuck-ups on the way. Yeah, so basically that's kind of the process.
Yeah, I have to say, 5 days sounds incredibly short for artwork that's this detailed. I thought it was more, we would be talking more in terms of weeks, maybe even months. 5 days?
And then how long we would be making this?
Okay. I don't know. Hesser, are you surprised too?
Yeah, it's a really short time.
I mean, if it was like a traditional oil painting, yeah, it would be like super fast. But with like digital art, when you can kind of make your lives easier with 3D and like photo textures, then no, it's not really that unusual. And there are hundreds cards in Gwent, and the Gwent team cannot be hundreds of artists. So we kind of, especially at the beginning, kind of had to pump out the cards relatively fast to have a game.
You said something interesting. You compared it to traditional art that would obviously take more time. Have you ever got into it? Have you ever got into making traditional art? So painting on an actual physical surface?
I mean, I really got into like watercolor art at some point. Again, because it sold well on DeviantArt. And I needed to pay for my college. I constantly promise myself that I will actually properly get into oil painting, and I constantly don't have the time. And I need to give myself like some deadline, because this has been going for like 3 years of all the stuff needed just standing in the other room and gathering dust. Not acceptable.
So you actually did some prep work. You got the materials. You were ready to go.
Yeah, for 3 years, so it's pathetic.
Yeah, I know how it works. It's just sitting there and you're like, yeah, I'm gonna do it tomorrow. Oh shit, there's a new Netflix show. For instance.
Yeah, for instance.
Go on, Hesser.
Yeah, still, you said that there's like a lot of requirements concerning the art, or some guidelines, abilities that you need to take into consideration while creating the art for the card. But could you tell us, how often did you have to reread the Witcher novels or do some sort of research in the games to make this right?
So I read the Witcher novels in the entirety twice, I think.
Right.
But I kind of got back to specific passages more often. But to be honest, at this point, there are so many wikias about Witcher. There's so much material online, and there are so many kind of lore specialists in the company that kind of the lore is easily accessible. So you don't need to know everything by heart. And to be fair, like the Witcher universe, the lore is kind of straightforward and easy to comprehend. It's not goddamn Silmarillion, so basically, I know the story and characters well, but I'm not like walkie-talking Witcher Wikipedia also.
Yeah, what you
Right.
said.
And I can imagine that there is like, the thing that you are getting in the guidelines and all the other things that the companies are, providing you with is probably more than enough, to create the art like that. But yeah, from what you're saying, you still need to do some sort of research.
Yeah. I mean, it's kind of hard to start doing stuff for the Witcher universe if you don't at least get the vibe, because it's not totally generic fantasy. And sometimes I see people doing like fan art online and kind of says it's Witcher, but it looks like Lord of the Rings, and it's just like not really the mood, but you go.
Yeah.
You said something interesting about Silmarillion being a thing. I remember when I first finished Lord of the Rings, the books, and I was so hyped. It was fantastic. It was such a good read for a teenager. And I was like, let's read Silmarillion. And then you read the first few pages and you're like, what on earth? Like it got better. Like eventually it got better, but the first impression was not great.
Yeah. It's like a Bible at some.
Actually, we quite often talk about that, not only on this show but also on our respective streams, about the Witcher universe not having this kind of Bible, because when people start playing the Witcher games, and they often ask about things that are supposed to be in the lore, they are supposed to be explained in a way, and nobody really knows, because there is no Witcher Bible, there is no Witcher Silmarillion that explains everything from the start. So it leaves a lot of room for interpretation.
That's true, but I think it's kind of better because for me, like Silmarillion over-explains some stuff, or explains in a way that for me it kind of ruins the trial, like the Lord of the Rings books. It's like I don't buy it. I don't like it.
I don't need to know that. You also said something about getting a lot of support from the company, and that begs the question: is there a position within CDPR, something of a lore guru, somebody who knows absolutely everything? So if you have any question regarding the lore, you can just knock on their door, and they're gonna be like, "Okay, let me check the files, let me check the books. Oh yeah, it's right there. I know the answer."
At least when I was in the company, there was not like a dedicated position. But there were people who were kind of assigned as the lore gurus. For Gwent team, it was Mateusz Tomaszkiewicz. For a while, he was also Gwent director. And so basically he was the guy that has been working in CD Projekt from the very beginning, knew the lore of books and games like inside out. And you could always just go to him and just like, Mati, how does it work? I don't know. That was he like literally remembered everything about those books. Like every minor like peasant character, he knew everything.
Yeah, kind of like Jinzy. I'm not sure if you know Jinzy. She's a content creator, and she knows absolutely everything about the Witcher novels. She could ramble about that on no end. I know, she was on the show. Moving on.
Yep. So we actually talked about it a bit, but just to make sure that everybody got that, did you know the card's ability and its role in Gwent upon being commissioned before going for the art? You did, right?
I mean, at the beginning, I knew. I would say, like, for the first year, that's how it worked.
Yeah.
But yeah, later when the expansion started coming out and the patches and redesigns, we just need to let it go. Just give us the character, like the general intent, and the artist will do the rest.
Yeah, that's something I was interested in, like seeing all the abilities changing all the time. Has it been frustrating in a way? Was there a moment where you just thought, okay, I'm gonna talk to these guys. That's not what this card represents. Come on, get it right.
I mean, I guess after like a first big patch, I got like a bit of this like whiplash of like, this is not what my baby was supposed to do. Get over it. Just like if it feels better in game, it doesn't fucking matter if it fits 100% the card. It's like kind of the card art is secondary to if the card ability is fun for the players. Like, okay, kind of you need to know the place of your work and it's not get your ego get in the way, because that's just like a recipe for disaster.
Speaking of your babies and this sort of personal attachment to your work, were there cards that you had to work on that you had very little personal interest in?
Yeah. I really didn't enjoy doing like the war machines, like the trebuchet, and there are like 3 of the war machines that I think I did. And I did it in a row, and it was like very uninspiring 3 weeks. Because you cannot tell like a character story with a trebuchet. It's just like, it's firing.
Did you tell that to Baby Joseph when he was interviewing you? Because he's the official Siege ambassador. He loves the Siege cards.
Siege ambassador.
Oh shit! I didn't know that.
I think that could have potentially concluded the interview on the spot. Like, I don't like the Siege cards. Okay, this is over. I'm going home.
Good thing that we didn't talk about it then.
Can you also give us examples of cards that you were very passionate about when working on them? Like, you got a commission and you're like, yes, I wanted to do this for so long.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, we got some choice with picking the cards that we wanted and didn't want to do. I had spreadsheets that we could put ourselves names in the stuff that we didn't, that we did want to do, and then I guess the rest was just distributed between the artists in a fair way. But I always was very fast to sign up for all the monster cards and all the dryad cards, because those are the most fun to do. Because monsters, those are monsters. They're so much fun, especially when you can actually design the creature. So I had the most fun on the Phoenix, and I really like doing the dryads because they're so open-ended, just like a green lady doing shit. Like, not really some character.
I think that was Johnny.
Best definition of a dryad.
Green things doing shit.
Thanks to that.
Did you know that some of the dryad cards actually have nicknames? The dryad fledgling is the tree humper.
Tree humper.
I hate it. But fair enough, she does look like she's humping the tree. And also one of the artists when I was working on it pointed it out, so I kind of knew. But it was like painted.
Yeah, I actually love all the nicknames, and I'm not sure if you keep in touch with the new art because there is a new Dryad, and she has a 6-pack, so she was quickly nicknamed Abby because of the abs.
Oh, okay.
That was a good one too.
Yeah. No, I keep up with like the new art because I'm still friends with the artists, and yeah, that card was by Kasia Bajkus, if I remember correctly. Yeah,
it's a possibility.
Oh man. Well, actually, we got a question from the chat. Which card is your favorite? I know it's kind of difficult to choose. Whoever you want to ask, everyone is gonna be like, "Oh shit, I don't know. My favorite card. It's difficult, right?" But maybe you got.
It's like asking your mom which of your children do you love the most. They're not gonna tell you, but you know that there is one.
It's hard to say. I liked working on the Flaminica one because it's like it was summer. It has kind of summery vibe, so it was like, yeah. Winter. I really like working on like the lesser demons, so like the cat and the dog card. Yeah. Because it was so easy. It's just a cat and a dog from the back, so it's like done.
Yeah, speaking of Flaminica, I think when it came out, a lot of people got the idea that the art was somehow inspired by the show Vikings, by Lagertha, if I pronounce her name correctly.
So I can debunk that because at the time I was ignorant of this fucking amazing show, and I got into it like way too late, and I'm still catching up. I mean, I can see the similarity with, especially with like the hair, but no. It would kind of be cool if I could say that it was an homage, but it's not. Sorry.
Rip another legend. Okay, moving on.
Like, yeah, sure.
We have so many more questions.
Oh yeah, especially about Gwent. So you told us that it was kind of difficult to get some sort of specific historical or modern style inspiring you when working on Gwent artwork, but we can definitely say that there is a signature touch that you can see on all of your cards. And could you tell us, in your opinion, what is that? What are you leaving on every card that is your specific signature touch?
Photoshop filters. So I kind of have when I'm finishing artwork, I kind of run it through usually very similar post processing. So I sharpen it, I put a grain on it, and I add like lens distortion, and it kind of makes all my art looks the same. And when I'm saying it, it sounds bad, but
yeah, it sounds like cheating.
I mean, it's kind of easy shorthand to get.
I'm not accusing you.
I mean, fair enough. It's kind of easy way to give that final push to the art if you want it to be more realistic, because kind of simulates the way kind of photography looks. So with a bit imperfection with like the lens distortion. A bit of grain, like older kind of photos looks, and sharpened because it just looks better in game because it's more readable. So cheeky.
Yeah, but that explains it. That explains it, absolutely.
All the artists in the chat, take notes.
Yeah. Alice is studying hard here.
Oh yeah, absolutely. By the way, shout out to Alice for helping us prep this episode.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you, Alice, for that. And yeah, have you ever imagined that your artwork is going to have like such an impact on the Gwent community? Because I can tell you from, my viewers or for Weissenberg viewers perspective, your art is just simply amazing. Everyone recognizes at a glance. And yeah, what do you think about it?
I mean, as I kind of said it before, career-wise, I have no fucking plan and never did. So I also didn't plan to make my art, I guess, impactful. I just was trying to do the best job with the stuff I got, and I'm super appreciative that people enjoy it, and I think going to turn out like a really nice game, and I'm happy I was able to kind of contribute to that. So like, yay! But thank you for enjoying my work. Means a lot.
Thanks to your artwork, I think Gwent is one of the best card games in terms of artwork. We can agree that there is no card game like that in terms of artwork, definitely. So when there are some new cards coming out, there's always, a huge discussion about the artwork and about the style, because, depending on the expansion, it differs a bit. Like, for example, the last expansion was a bit more dark, and people realized it, from the spot. So it's also a part of it, right? When it comes to other card games, I think art is not being really such a big part of the game. So yeah, definitely job well done on that.
Yeah.
It's kind of also thanks to like the Gwent community that they are actually appreciating the art and not pushing it to the side, just like it's a card game. I guess like some pictures, blah, blah, blah. They are actually paying attention. So that's like.
I mean, we could totally praise you on no end. So I'm only gonna say one thing. Quite a lot. I would see a new card and I'll be like, "Oh, this is amazing art! I absolutely love it." And then Anna P. That explains it.
Yeah.
No, seriously. Thank you for appreciating the stuff, because it's inspiring to do more when people appreciate your stuff. So thank you.
We talked a little bit about the interview you had with Tim Bannigang and Baby Joseph. So during that interview, you shared the story behind Squirrel, the last card that was, made by you and was released in the latest expansion. And I was wondering, are there more stories like that? Are there more trivia like that? Because I think that I look at Roach and I look at Asira, the crazy cat lady. I think there has to be a story.
I mean, the Squirrel was like the only card that I was so hell-bent on making. But yeah, I've worked for quite a while on those cards, so adventures happened. So I guess, a good example can be like the Asire card, because kind of the brief I got for her was kind of bare bones. The stuff from the books was kind of very minimalistic, just like one of the less important magicians, and the stuff that stuck with me was the fact that she had a cat called Merlin. So I was like, perfect. We are basing the character around this fucking cat, and there will be also a lady somewhere. And I kind of managed to get this weird card portal illustration pushed. But then when kind of a delegation of animators and designers came with like, the fuck is that? What did you do? What is that? So I had no explanations for them, because I just wanted to draw a cat portal, and they had to deal with that. I'm sorry.
One day there is gonna be a card called Merlin. I'm telling you that.
Should be. Like, I think if there is a thing that Gwent lacks is like silly cards with just like very casual animals, just not so serious, not just like dudes fighting in mud, just like it's a variety. Like a cat would be perfect, or more squirrels.
Give us more. We need more stories. I need to know about Roach, because that must have sounded crazy. You said you only briefly touched The Witcher 3, so when somebody came to you and said, so Anna, we want you to draw a horse on the roof, that must have sounded pretty ridiculous.
No, I'm sorry. That was my idea. I made the first sketch for Roach was like a serious epic horse, but then kind of there was a video with bugs of Roach that went viral and kind of changed direction and made like a few sketches of Roach in different bugged out locations. And they picked the one on the roof, and rightfully so. That was also fun to draw because it was so ridiculous. But yeah, it kind of credit to the game director at the time for actually agreeing to do stuff like that. Because I know in some companies the mantra could be like, no, we need to like treat ourselves seriously. Serious horse, serious composition, serious game. So
Yada yada yada. You said that you made multiple sketches of Roach, and I think that's gonna be a lot to ask. But is there any chance that you still have them and you could publish them on social media at some point in the future, just for fun?
I do, and I actually published one of the alternative sketches already, on my Instagram.
I don't use Instagram. Sorry. I'm old. I know.
It's a trashy website, but I mean, I guess I can repost them to Twitter or something. I have a roach standing on its head. It's a very beautiful sketch. What else interesting happened? When I was painting the Dashing Siri, my workstation flooded, so that was fun.
How did it flood? I need to know the details.
How, right?
I think it was the famous Busha coffee.
No, it was not the famous Busha coffee. Actually, it was a problem with the AC, but it was amazing because I don't remember even why, but I was in work on Saturday. So I was kind of feeling more casual, not having my shoes on and just painting the Siri. And suddenly I feel like my feet are wet. And I was just like, what the hell? And like the whole area was like dark from carpet being soaked in water. That's a problem on the weekend because like, oh, there's no administration. What now? So yeah, Siri is very characteristic card for me. Hard to not remember that.
Yeah, I can see why. When we are talking about your work in Gwent, there is a couple of questions that are not on the list, but I'm gonna ask them anyway. The first one, and we briefly talked about that before the show. How do you feel about people, other content creators, reworking your cards? Because we briefly talked about the Paps making memes out of your work.
You showed me the memes. They are amazing and so well put together. More, please. They're hilarious. I don't have a problem with people editing my work. Just like cut it, do whatever. It's online. Like, what can I do?
It's on the internet. There's no way to stop it.
Yeah. It's just like have fun.
And the other question that I had in mind specifically when you were talking about Asira is premiums.
Mm-hmm.
How do you feel about premiums in general? What's your experience with working with animators, if that's their official title?
I mean, they're elevating the art like another level, and it's so much fun to see what they come up, especially when they kind of get super creative. Some cards they have to kind of do in slow-mo. Sometimes they do like super creative intros for the cards. It's like kind of, it's mind-blowing what they can do with the cards. So it's super awesome. And I was on Gwent from the very beginning, so I kind of got to see how the idea of creating the premiums come about. So that was also fun to see them kind of iterate to get where the premiums are now, from kind of humble beginnings with just like VFX, then like moving planes, and then like full models and depth, and like wow. It's awesome. Lots of respect for the guys.
Yeah, some premiums are very gentle, I would say. They don't show a lot, but some premiums, including Asira, there is a lot of motion.
Yeah, that's very true. And those are the most fun. I mean, I get why budget-wise and time, because of time, is you kind of have to go simple with some cards. But when there is a card that they get to, they have like super cool idea and get the permission to put more into, it's like, oh, so awesome. So the best part about doing Gwent, I think, just like getting your cards animated. Because you don't get to see that on any other project. Like maybe when you do like some key art or something for other companies, they can like put a fork in front of it or something simple, but never something like in Gwent.
There's another thing we talk quite extensively about, and that's the changing abilities. And I know we are moving across topics, but I really need to follow up on that. Once before the show, you said that you are bad at card games, and I think a lot of people in chat would like to know, how about Gwent? Are you up for a round? Have you ever played?
I mean, I tried, but Gwent makes me feel so goddamn stupid. It's frustrating. It's too much rules, too much everything. I don't think I ever won a round of Gwent ever in my life. No, I once when there was like a day of testing, I won a round of Gwent because Maciej Ostrowski, the main designer, was walking behind me, and I just put him in my space and like play it. So that's the only way I can win in Gwent. Made somebody else play for me.
Fair enough.
Not computing with my brain. I'm sorry.
I think it's time we move to more pleasant topics.
Please.
Yeah. So given a chance, like, is there any character from the Witcher universe that you'd love to illustrate? You were saying that you were actually picking monsters and dryads mainly, right? Because you enjoyed creating art for them. But is there like any specific one character that you would like to illustrate?
Specific one? I always wanted to do more Wild Hunt guys. Like I kind of always was missing out on Imlerith. I always wanted to do him, but alas.
And he's on the screen right now as we speak, actually.
Oh, damn it. But yeah, it was always something that when somebody else grabbed the Wild Hunt characters, there were never that many to begin with. I was like on holidays when they were releasing. So it was just like, damn it.
Oh man.
Yeah, oh man, exactly.
Would be awesome to see the Wild Hunt version made by you.
Yeah, what can you do?
Yeah, we are just waiting on a new card, Imlerith Holidays. It's an empty field. No Imlerith to be found. What? Following up on that, is there any chance you might illustrate more Gwent cards in the near or distant future?
I mean, I'm not planning on getting back on Gwent team because I did my time. I made.
It sounds like prison. I did my time. I paid my debt to society.
I had fun, but yeah, at some point, you kind of keep working on the same product for a few years. With Gwent, it's also you're kind of restricted to the same shape and size of canvas. The same characters are circulating, and you just want something new. So I guess I could, in some further future, if the guys want to do some freelance, 1 or 2, but I would not come back full time. I'm kind of involved in other projects that right now are kind of I'm hyped about, and Gwent is kind of a closed chapter. What I'm very happy with, but it's it's done.
But is it entirely closed? That's the question.
Mhm.
Right, Hesser?
Yeah, exactly. Are there like any cards that you worked on that haven't been released yet and we might see in the future?
There are 2 more.
That's
Alright.
a major leak.
I cannot say anything more, but yeah. I also cannot wait for them to be released because I am very happy with one. The other is kind of whatever card, but I want to post one of them.
Nice.
Yeah, we are
look
looking
forward
forward to that. The next
Okay.
expansion is when? The next expansion should be in December, right?
True.
So I think we'll need to press. Actually, there has been some art leaks. I'm not sure if you guys know if you are on Reddit, but somebody scoured through the game files and there is apparently some art in there depicting witchers and salamanders and stuff like that. As if they are trying to front load the next expansion. We'll have to ask Buja about that.
Okay.
Oh yeah, I saw that somewhere on Reddit, I think. Maybe we can find a link quickly and post it in the chat.
In the meantime, I'm going to ask the next question because I imagine that working with CDPR has been quite an experience.
Mm.
And my question would be, how did it influence the projects that you are now involved in?
I mean a lot because I guess my portfolio is mostly kind of hyper realistic, kind of gritty stuff. So I was mostly put on projects that are in this kind of style. Lately, I'm trying to branch out more to do also more stylized stuff. But it had like a huge positive, I would say, influence. But that's the thing of having your portfolio mainly connected with one project. You have to realize that this is also the kind of work you'll be contacted for, because people usually want more of the same. Which is fine with me. I like fantasy. I like the realistic stuff, and card games are awesome to work on because they are kind of so easy to do on freelance, because this is like a tiny part of the project to do. It's like yay.
You said that Gwent is a closed chapter, and I absolutely have to squeeze more out of that answer. The future Witcher games, Cyberpunk, any Anna art to be seen?
I did some stuff for Cyberpunk, and when it's released, I will be able to post it, I guess.
Awesome.
Before it releases,
And before you started working on Gwent, were you involved in the Witcher games in any capacity?
I was when The Witcher 3 was wrapping up. I was hired as a junior artist, so I didn't do much. I did like some UI fragments. not really much, but I was on a project that was killed a long time ago. It was called Witcher Battle Arena. It was CD Projekt trying to do a mobile game. It's not an active project anymore, but I learned a lot.
Yeah, I can imagine anyone from CTPR just watching this and being like, please, Anna, just don't talk about that. We don't want anyone to remember. But I'm really glad I asked about Cyberpunk and The Witcher, because this time around we got a lot of good questions from Reddit. And I was not sure if we should ask about Cyberpunk. I thought, it's closed door. She's no longer working for CDPR. But apparently there is some stuff we can expect in the future.
Yeah, I mean, when I left Gwent, I was doing freelance still for CD Projekt, but it's like, there will be like some stuff, not like huge amount, so not like a flood of content like I have with Gwen cards, but a decent amount of stuff that, yeah, I also cannot wait for the game to release to start posting, because it's something else, not fantasy.
Okay, before we end the Gwent segment, just a question to wrap it up a little bit. The most memorable Gwent card you've ever worked on, and why?
Memorable.
Other than being flooded during working on Siri.
It was pretty goddamn memorable. You know what? I would say Kian, because it's such a gross card. And at the time I was sitting with my Wacom of my computer showing to kind of the hallway of people crossing. And I loved the reaction of people just like the constant murmur of EU behind my back. Oh, it was entertaining. Like, yeah, of course, like also I had like a monitor with like references of like gory stuff and tasty.
Very tasty. There's a lot of tasty cards like that. I remember the Parasite when it was first released. Ooh.
Oh yeah.
Ooh, that was something.
That's Bogna Gawrońska did that one. And to be honest, like if I remember correctly, she just like made it was like her first sketch, and it was like immediately everybody was like, yeah, that one, just perfect.
Especially the premium, like the card in itself is already quite gross, and then you look at the premium like. No.
And you get
disable premiums.
Such an effective idea. Just like on point.
Okay, I think it's time. We have 30-something minutes left, so I think it's time to move to the personal Q&A section. And once again, we have quite a few questions from Reddit, but chat, if you want to ask Anna something, anything really, post it right there in the chat box, and we are gonna have a look. And if it's something worthwhile, we are definitely gonna ask it, even if it's some memes. So we can allow some memes here and there. But the first question, as I said, from Reddit once again, in this section is, what are your responsibilities within flying Wild Hogs? Because somebody said that the enemy design strongly resembles your style.
And that one, that person would be wrong, because I didn't do those actually. I mean, I cannot go into much detail because I'm working on an unannounced project at Flying Wild Hog, but I am super happy about it and super hyped because this is actually the project I left Gwent for. So I kind of they gave me the pitch, and it was like, buy Gwent, I guess. So I cannot wait when this will be announced, because it's like super cool. I love it. I love working on that. And as for Shadow Warrior, so far I only did like a key art, but it's unreleased. So nothing of mine to be seen in Shadow Warrior 3 as of yet.
Okay, I think that answers my question. I'm actually writing some more down, so get ready. But in the meantime, I'm gonna give the mic to Hesser.
Yeah, that's right. So, well, we can assume that you don't have an exclusivity clause in your contract, right? With any other studios. So, can we expect some sort of freelance work from you as well from time to time?
Yeah. I'm a bit of a workaholic, so I always do a bunch of stuff at one time. There is a lot of stuff that just is done or in the works, but yeah, with like the game cycle developments, it's usually like a year or two or even more after the work is finished that can be released. So everybody has to wait.
I think that's the worst part, just waiting on something. Like, you gave us so many leaks today. There are more Gwent cards coming. There is Cyberpunk stuff coming. and I'm just sitting here waiting and thinking, oh my god, it's gonna be months.
Yeah.
I wanna see it now.
What can I do? That's a life in game. Like your portfolio is always like 3 to 4 years out of date to the stuff you're actually doing. What can you do?
Considering that there are still more Gwent cards coming, if invited, would you consider showing up to a Gwent tournament? Because when it comes to certain tournaments, CDPR organizes like a viewer party. So they invite content creators, people who are involved in Gwent in any other way, to basically watch a tournament together, have a chat, discuss everything related to the game. If someone invited you, would you consider coming?
Maybe. I mean, the problem with me in Gwent is the fact that I don't really play Gwent because I am so.
You could learn.
So I would be politely just nodding, like, "Woo, points, effects, people winning, woo." That might defeat the purpose.
At least you would know who won, because normally people would just slowly falling asleep. Oh, what's going on? Who's playing?
There you go. That I could do, like a bare minimum.
Yeah, but I think a lot of content creators and fans would just love to meet you there to talk about art, to talk about your work while you were at CDPR.
Fair enough. Like I can talk about the art, and I can be very disappointed when it comes to the Gwent itself.
Oh, we have a highly controversial question from the chat.
Oh. Sure.
Tris, Yen, or Shani? The first reaction to the question was, Jesus Christ, no.
Yen, for sure.
Yen, for sure.
I have proof of that message.
It's like not even a contest, I'm sorry. She's clearly better than all the other.
Speaking of which, you've never designed a Yennefer card, have you?
I did one Yennefer card.
Which one?
Like shooting green energy. And she was like connected to unicorns at some point.
Wait, what? Alice says Vanilla Yen. Which one is Vanilla Yen? Is it the review one?
Like a green one, I don't know. Just asking me hard Gwent questions. Wait.
Conjuration, maybe?
Wikipedia.
No, Conjurer is the pinging one. I know Conjurer because it was my first premium. Like, it's like a new card to me. I'm sorry. I've been playing this game for 1,500 hours. I'm like, Vanilla Yen, which one is that? Oh, there's a link? No, there's not a link.
There was an old Yennefer shooting like green energy from between her legs, and she was at some point connected to a unicorn, and the unicorn also had to be green for that reason. And I don't like that it's green. It should be blue, but
I'm not gonna lie. I'm gonna check it on Gwent 1. I'm gonna check it in the database. Which one was that? Like, people were, the neutral one. Yeah, it doesn't tell me. It's not tell me anything, guys.
Yeah, it's super old. It's like one of the.
This one. Oh, the swarm one.
Yeah, the swarm one, exactly.
Now I know.
What it's called now?
Yennefer of Wengerberg. It's just Vanilla Yen.
Oh, okay.
Thanks, chat.
So,
moving on. Do we have anything else from chat? No, because if we don't, then we are gonna ask one more. We have a question about the duration. How long does it take on average to make a card? You said about 5 days.
Yeah, I mean, I guess it varied a little because some cards were less complex than others. So there were like token cards that could take like 2 or 3 days because it's like, for example, there was like a skull token. So like how much time you can spend on the skull. But there were also cards that were with multiple characters. So, for example, in Lerith, Sabbath was, I think it took like 7 days because there are all the ladies on the stairs. It just like the more people on the card, basically, the more time it needs to be finished. At least for me.
So I'm gonna spin that question a little bit. I'm gonna ask, how long did it take the most? Like, what was the longest time you had to spend on a card? And which card was that?
Which one was the longest? I think the longest was actually the Blue Stripes Commando. It was like the triptych card, and it was the first triptych we kind of, as experiment, we tried to make, and it was a pain in the ass because it didn't work with being a premium. It was like a third or fourth card I did on Gwent, so I was not kind of as fluent in doing those cards, and it's much bigger than the other cards. The composition sucks. And this one like took probably more than 2 weeks, and the effect is still not great. So
people love the triptych cards though, and they are actually missing them.
Yeah, they are largely gone. Like we still have a couple of them.
Yeah.
Yeah, too bad. This was a good idea, but I mean, I get why they were problematic. And but at least later the compositions and the thinking about how to go about those cards got much better, because Blue Stripes not good.
All the NR boys cry in the corner. First she says she doesn't like siege machines, then she says she doesn't like Blue Stripes.
I'm sorry.
Clearly a Skoyateo fangirl.
Yes.
Yeah, the next one is gonna be that Roach is a scumbag.
Speaking of Skoyateo, it was asked some time ago in chat, what's the story behind Ida's cat?
Oh yeah.
Like you made Ida Ep the elven mage. And there's a cat hissing on her, like trying to grab her her dress. That was your card, wasn't it?
Dobra. I'm sorry.
Yeah, dobra. Yeah, okay, it's cool.
Like the yellow dress cat lady.
Yeah, the cat lady. The other cat lady. Yeah.
I mean, there was a passage in the book that Ida was teleporting somewhere, and a bunch of like wildcats noticed her, and it was like a kind of cool quote that the cats were not impressed with the magic she was performing with, like trying to be invisible, because cats are so cool that they can see right through that. So again, I hear a cat in the brief, and just like that was their point. So it kind of is a bit related to like this quote in the book, but obviously not exactly.
So the best way to get you to draw a card is just insert a cat. There is a cat there. Okay, that's enough. I'm gonna do it.
I mean, I would like to say no, but the evidence is clear. It's the case. I just like cards with like kind of
with animals,
simple animal or cute twist. They're just fun to do, especially that Witcher has kind of a dark, dreary universe. So every little possible ray of light of doing like something a bit cutesy or fun is always like, let's do that.
Yeah, especially Knickers is like that. It's a very bright, happy card.
It is. I mean, and it was based on a dog that was kind of a Gwen dog. So the dog that was the most often in the Gwen studio. The real dog is called Mjolnir, and it's Shiba Inu. But obviously, we couldn't have Shiba in a Witcher universe, so I make it a more mixed breed.
Isn't it? It's I'm not sure if you said it. It's Austria's dog, right?
No, Austria also has a dog. From what I know, it's from the same breeder because there are like 10 Shibas from the same breeder in CD Projekt right now. Everybody wants one of those.
Now we know who runs the company.
Yeah. So there's a Shiba posse. Mjolnir was the first one. She belongs to one of the Gwent artists. Her name is Zuza. She also she likes the expansions. Actually, did my favorite card. There was like a young dryad creating like magic and like sprouting stuff from the ground, and it was like super cute. And Zuza did that.
Surname Bacchus, I think.
Yeah, Zuza Kapuścińska. Zuzanna is like, I guess that's the full name. But yeah.
We actually have some questions related to the other artists, and I think Hesser has them on his list.
That's right. The next one is we talked a bit about your favorite art, but do you have like any art from another Gwent artist that is your favorite one?
Yeah. Wait, because I don't remember the title. It's Lorenzo's art. So going to his art station. There's like a card with a bunch of peasants, and I fucking love it. Oh my god, Lorenzo, your surname is a hell to write.
Oh, so it's Lorenzo.
There
right?
we go. There. Oh yeah, I really love. There is a peasant militia, and it's a card by Lorenzo, and it looks like an old-timey painting. It kind of just looks like an oil paint. It's fucking amazing. I love it. Oh, it's.
Yeah, but speaking of looking at some sort of a painting, I think that it's easy to say that some of the cards really look like some medieval paintings. And did you have like any sort of favorite painter that impacted your work as well?
I don't think it's gonna be a medieval painter, because the art back then was quite different.
It was.
I think it's gonna be like early modern, 1600s at the earliest.
Oh my god, there's like so many artists that I love. I guess. Okay, we can go through the list. I guess I really love the art of Weiss and Malczewski, and Caravaggio is like one of like the biggest art gurus for me still. Oh my god. Such a broad topic. I cannot.
In the next episode, the top 10 artists, the top 10 painters by Anna Podedworna.
Make it 50 and we can...
and we can talk about that, yeah.
I can cut it at 50. But it's hard to say. I never had like a single artist that I wanted to be like exactly like that, but there are so many artists that were kind of masters of their niche, and they did one particular thing just like so brilliantly that it's just like I agree. It's really cool when in Gwent sometimes art pops up that it has kind of this old art feeling, and I think Lorenzo is definitely master of that. He pulls it off the best out of the team to like his art is like super classy. Love it.
Awesome. And what about the artists like non-Gwent related? They have like maybe modern ones, obviously.
Or
Do you have any favorite ones?
maybe digital ones, like other card games, for instance, or
Yeah.
other games in general.
I really love what Evan Amundsen is doing. Like there's a guy doing like fantasy artwork, and usually doing like he, most of the time sticks to just the sketch part, but his sketches are so full of life. They're just like I wish I could create characters this juicy and amazing team. Another artist that like is super awesome is like Simon Stalenhag. Oh my god, there is a TV series being based on his portfolio of concept art. It's just dude is doing kind of mostly environment art with like dark sci-fi twist, and it's all a bit unsettling. Kind of looks like a Northern Europe, but with like this like it's so good.
Speaking of other artists, I have a question. I'm not sure if you are gonna be able to answer it, but when you are browsing through artwork made by somebody else, do you borrow their ideas sometimes? Do you have this feeling like, this looks cool, I think I'm gonna use that in my own work?
I mean,
like a style or a specific touch, or maybe some sort of filter.
I try not to do that because that's kind of shitty to do to other artists. I definitely try to when I see somebody having like some really interesting technique, I try to figure it out and emulate that. And if they have like tutorials, then it's like, wow, that's awesome. But like designs or compositions now, because I would like if somebody like grabbed my compositions and like, oh, it's mine, and I sell it. So
look at me, I'm the captain now.
So yeah, especially when you're doing like commercial work and you're making money out of it, I think it's like not great if you're snatching ideas from other artists. Like I guess some inspiration and some overlap is bound to happen because they're just there is not infinite amount of things you can do, for example, with medieval armor. But yeah, I guess that's something you should, when you're an artist, should be mindful of, to just not steal other artists' shit.
But do you actually consult with other artists when working on a project?
Yeah. I mean, on games, you cannot not consult. There are always whole teams of people. There are art directors, there are art leads. So yeah, it's a team effort, especially on bigger projects. And this is really awesome when like the art team is like a pleasant environment when people are kind of everybody with like nice fitting personalities, which definitely was the case for Gwent. Like such a nice bunch of people that I'm still friends with, and so like awesome.
Yeah, exactly. We can see that because you mentioned them so many times.
They're nice people. They like them. So yeah.
Okay, randomly switching topics. We talk a lot about your beginnings, and I wanted to know, what advice would you give somebody trying to kickstart their career as a freelance artist or as a digital artist?
That's a good question. I would not recommend doing what I did. So just going blindly and just like, oh, I guess opportunities. For me, at least, actually working in the studio really helped, like properly kickstart my freelance career, because then just your work is kind of connected to a more recognizable brand. So yeah, it's more appealing to the clients. But yeah, you can definitely also start off just doing random commissions on the internet and slowly work up to a bigger, so some bigger clients. If somebody wants to do freelance, definitely being active on social media is important, because people just need to find you somehow. And yeah, for that, I guess most of my like serious work I got from ArtStation. Like Instagram, DeviantArt, not so much. This is like yeah, definitely there are places for posting more casual sketches and casual interactions, and places that should be properly moderated, just like just calm down. Maybe don't go crazy on ArtStation, because yeah, that's where people find artists. And yeah, just social media, just keep grinding, and if possible, at least for some time, grab a position in a studio. And yeah, it just will, at some point, kind of the experience and clients accumulate, and it's a good living.
Yeah, we've actually seen something like that in Gwen. There's an artist called Astor Alexander. And I remember there being a lot of fan art on the Witcher Reddit, on social media, depicting Witcher in a different setting, like Witcher Noir, like 1920s. And then all of a sudden, a couple of expansions ago, there were Gwent cards released and designed by Astor Alexander.
Yeah.
So somebody saw that and somebody thought, we are going to talk to them.
Yeah, I mean, that's kind of how looking for artists works. Kind of.
There's no yellow pages.
No, just basically what you find online. And in case of Astor, like the Noir Witcher series was kind of went viral. Like a lot of people liked it on many platforms, so he was easy to find. So I'm not surprised the guys contacted him to do some official work. His work is awesome. I also know who he is. That's yeah.
But there's also been attempts by CDPR to actually get new artists. For example, some time ago there was an art competition where people were asked to design cards, and some of these cards finally made it to the game. Were you actually aware of the competition?
Competition.
Were you aware of that competition being a thing?
Yeah, I know. I helped judge the winners. So.
Oh, really? I thought that was way past the time.
No, it was like right on the edge when I was kind of getting my shit out.
Right before your exit.
Yeah, like there was a ton of great entries. It was like kind of hard to narrow it down to like the best few dozens, because they were like I would say like at least 100 of those entries were like a top level art. So yeah, like the community really pulled through.
Yeah, there was actually
awesome.
an amazing card, Sienna. I don't remember who made it, but for some reason it was removed from the competition for some paperwork reason. Like somebody didn't list their sources or something of the sort. I don't know, but it was removed from the competition because of some technicality, is what we were told. It was the art of Sienna sitting on a throne.
Oh, like she's the one that she's like really comfortable, like
exactly that one, yeah.
Yeah. Huh.
Do you remember what the story was?
I don't know what the story might have been. I never heard that there was an issue. So happens. Maybe there was some paperwork lacking happens.
Hesser is on point today. Like, he's having links for everything. Like whenever we mention something, boom, link in the chat. But Hesser, do you have more questions from the chat? Since you are so active there.
Well, unfortunately, the only question we got here is like about the Witcher trio. But this is really similar to Jan, Triss, or Shani.
Oh yeah, Lambert versus Esco.
Yeah, we could add Papa Vesemir as well to that competition.
Asking important questions.
Yeah, like Hesser, do you have daddy issues? Do you like Vesemir?
Yeah, this is the best Witcher, man.
Yeah, the mustache, all right? It's
yeah, exactly.
It's that.
But I agree.
Yeah, but unfortunately, these are all we got for now.
Okay, we have one question left on our list, but if chat comes up with something nice, we're gonna ask that as well because we have 10 minutes left. So the question that we have on our own list is, what are your plans for the near future? Are there any new projects you are involved in other than the hogs?
Again, I am not too great at planning what's going to happen in the future.
Yeah, we established that.
I just take what comes on. I guess now I'm also the thing I'm working now on, again, without going into too much detail, now I'm doing a project for Riot Games. So that's cool. And it's totally like not the stuff I've done before, so it's interesting. Yeah, I usually have like some freelance or contract work lined up for a few months into the future. I just I don't really have like a goal. Just like, oh, there is this one company and this one dream project that I want to get on and just work on that. Just like, but if something like comes around and it's cool, I'll do it. If not, then I'll do something else.
Alrighty. To wrap things up, there's a couple of things we have to remind the chat of, and the first one being there are 2 more Gwent cards made by this awesome lady that are going to be released at some point in the future. We don't have a confirmation when that's going to be.
Yeah, I would love also them to be released because I left the company like 2 years ago. And I have those 2 cards in limbo, and I actually really like one of those. So it's like, what the hell, guys?
On top of that, in I think 75 days, Cyberpunk is going to release, and you'll be able to find Anna's influence in there as well. Can you be a little bit more specific as to what can we expect from you and Cyberpunk?
I mean, I cannot be super specific.
Vaguely specific.
I can tell you that some of the stuff I work on, I guess, was released as a wallpaper packet already some time ago on GOG. But that's all I know and can tell.
All right.
And we have, and the last thing we are going to wait for is the Roach sketches. They're supposed to make their way to Twitter and other social media in the future. I'm not sure when.
It's pretty rough, but sells the idea, I guess. So one is kind of so shitty. I don't think I want to post it, but I will post one definitely.
Oh, we have a weird question from chat. Is it true that you refused to draw Pafko Gale? The Bush's card?
No, I didn't.
You weren't asked.
From what I remember, when the idea appeared, Lorenzo grabbed the card so fast it was not an option for any other artist.
He yoinked it.
Oh, so fast. I never seen somebody editing like Excel spreadsheets this fast. So there was, it was meant for Lorenzo.
Let's say that. Let's say it was meant for him.
Some sort of big Kappa Pride moment there.
Yeah. Maybe at some point in the future, we'll have the opportunity to talk to him, and we are definitely going to remind him of that little incident.
Oh yeah.
He really wanted to do it, so it's like fair enough.
Yeah, we can't blame him.
Definitely grab Lorenzo. Lorenzo is like really nice to talk to.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah, you can have it. I totally didn't want that card.
That's fine.
I'm totally not
I
mad.
will not grab the next one you wanted just out of spite.
Oh, why am I not picking up your calls? I don't know. Must be something with my phone.
No. It's, I'm happy that Lorenzo did that hard card because it turned out really, really nice. And I think it has like this Lorenzo touch that only he can pull off.
Okay, guys, we've been doing this for almost 2 hours, so I think it's time we get to the last very brief segment of the show, which is where can we find you? So, Anna, if people want to discover more of your artwork or discover more about you, where can they find you? On social media? What websites?
Well, I am on quite a few, so I will recommend ArtStation for if you want to like to see the art in its whole glory. DeviantArt, if you must too, because there is some old shit, crazy shit there. I'm on Twitter as of recently, and I'm on Instagram. So on Twitter, on Instagram, there will be like more sketchy, fun stuff that I want. I just don't post on the more serious websites.
Okay, Hesser, now it's your time to sell out.
Oh yeah, Shameless Plus number, I don't know, 4 or 5 right now. So as you probably know, guys, you can find me under twitch.tv/Hesser Tavern. We are streaming 4 times a week usually, and mainly playing Gwent, but also playing some indie games and other stuff you were suggesting me to play. So welcome to step by whenever you have time. Come join us and play. I'm playing together with the viewers as well if you want to play with me. It's a great opportunity.
Okay, thanks. Guys, I would like to only remind you that you can follow us on Twitter at Novigrad Podcast. You can also join our Discord if you type !podcast. And this episode is going to be available on YouTube, Spotify, and a couple of other platforms either tonight or tomorrow. And with that being said, Anna, Hesser, thank you for being here. Very insightful episode. Really enjoyed this one. And,
thank you, Anna. That was amazing.
Thank you for having me.
Chat, thanks for staying with us. Thanks for all the questions. Also Reddit, thanks for giving us a lot of good ideas on what to ask. And obviously, once again, Elise, the Thunderbird of Team Aretusa, thanks a lot for helping us prep this episode. It wouldn't be possible without you. And with that being said, thanks everyone for being here today. We are going to see you next time.
And next time is going to be good.
Oh, this is going to be good. We will have some really decent leaks.
Oh, yeah.
Have a great day, everyone. See you next time.
See ya.